everyone and welcome to our video on phonetics. In this video we will share the tips and recommendations that have helped us to improve our pronunciation. So tip number 1. Before you pronounce an English word, make sure that you identify the exact position of the stress. Because in English the stress comes quite unexpectedly and it may fall on the first, second, third or fourth syllable, or a word may have more than one stresses.
Number 2. Did you know that unlike English, most words in Armenian are stressed, so it's important to use weak forms when necessary. For example, in case of personal and possessive pronouns, prepositions, etc. Tip number 3. Between the elements of diphthongs ia, ea, o is often pronounced the sound y, which isn't quite correct. To make it correct, pronounce these diphthongs without the sound y, like hea, not heia, dia, not dia.
Tip number 4. When a word ends in t and the next word begins with p, the two sounds come together with the t changing to p. I think I have a split personality, a white piece of paper.
Tip number 5. If one word ends in a vowel sound followed by a d and the next begins in a b, then the d changes to a b and merges with a b from the following word. So speedboat becomes speedboat, good boy becomes good boy.
Number 6. When we speak with our family or friends, our speech is natural and fluent. Then when the words ends in two sound and the next begin with y sound, these two sounds come together and change to ch. So meet you becomes meet you. For example, can I get you anything? Or mother told that you were late.
Tip number 7. It's a piece of cake. The words a and of are both pronounced as and they are not stressed. This sound is the most common sound in the whole English language. It's so common that it has its own name, schwa. Now it can be difficult to hear the schwa because it's not stressed. However, it's a vowel sound that's used in many grammar words like articles and prepositions. For example, I like a cup of tea in the morning. Could you get a packet of biscuits?
Tip number 8. In fluent speech, if the word he comes at the beginning of a sentence, then sound H is pronounced. But if it comes in the middle of a sentence and after a consonant, then the H sound isn't usually pronounced. So he becomes E, and he looks like he's had an accident becomes he looks like he's had an accident. Now this change also happens with certain other words beginning with the H sound, like him, his, or her. Here are some more examples. I really like his cooking. We think he's left the country.
Tip number 9. When pronouncing D before G or K, D becomes G. For example, when we want to say bad girl, we pronounce like bad girl. Or when we want to say good cook, we pronounce like good cook.
The sound s, the English sounds p, t, k are pronounced without aspiration. For example, pill but spill, tick, stick, kin, skin. And sometimes non-aspirated sounds are replaced by aspirated ones. And to make it correct, we should pronounce these sounds like Armenian p, t, k in such words as spi, spitak, skis, etc.
The high falling tone and the low falling tone. If we want to express finality in English, we usually use the high falling tone or the low falling tone. The low falling tone starts in the middle of the voice range and goes down to the bottom. For example, yes, city. While pronouncing a high falling tone, the voice falls from a high to a low pitch. For example, yes, city. The low falling tone makes the sentences calm and neutral. The high falling tone makes them sociable, interested, and involved. For example, compare. What are you buying? Apples. This is a low fall. And what are you buying? Apples. This is a high fall.
Intonation of direct address. Greeting, requests, excuse, thanks, and some other phrases sometimes have direct address. The intonation of direct address depends on its position in the sentence. At the beginning of the sentence, it always forms a separate sense group and usually takes a falling rising tone. For example, Betty, close the door. In official speech, it takes a falling tone. For example, Betty, come here. In the middle and the end of the sentence, it is unstressed and continues the melody of the preceding stressed word. For example, come here, Betty.
International greetings. International greetings depend on the speech situation. In official situations, the greetings are pronounced with a falling tone and the word good is unstressed. Good morning, good evening. In non-official situations, to sound friendly, the greetings are pronounced with a rising tone and the word good is stressed. Good morning, morning, Jane. Hi, hello are also frequently used in non-official situations. Hi, glad to see you again.
Our phonetic project was ready at the beginning of September, but only now we could finish it. At that time, a war broke out like a bolt from the blue, and we found ourselves in an unleashed hell. During the war, our emotions were confused and frozen. Today, we understand that life is too cruel, and you never know what tomorrow brings. In one click, everything may be gone forever. So appreciate what you have, your country, family, and friends, since it may vanish in a moment forever.